Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Masterminds podcast.
Each episode, we invite extraordinary guests who are masters of their craft. They're innovators, entrepreneurs, and of course, motorcycle enthusiasts who have made their mark in the world.
They share their stories, insights, and hard-earned wisdom, giving you a front row seat to the strategies and experiences that shape their successes.
So sit back, grab a drink, and get ready for an exhilarating ride as we dive deep into the minds of these exceptional individuals.
Along the way, we'll uncover powerful strategies, gain fresh perspectives, and explore the limitless possibilities of what it takes to be an American mastermind. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Masterminds podcast. I am your host, Topher Sheeler. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Rob Adams.
What up, what up?
And we got Alec Langdon up on the soundboard. Always love to see his hand. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very special evening planned for you here this evening. We have the one, the only, from Spectrum Solutions, the legendary Mr. Bill Phillips.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the show, Bill.
Thank you very much. Let's go easy on the legendary.
Oh, man, Bill, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. Number one, huge admirer and friend of you and your family and your business and all the things that you've accomplished. It's amazing to watch you do things. And I'm not saying that it's any easier or any better this year than it was last year, maybe worse or better. But the fact of the matter is that when Bill shows up, there's a difference is going to be made. Something's going to happen. Like Bill is one of those guys he's about the solutions. He's about driving forward no matter what. And I have an example. I have a story I want to share with the audience. Thanksgiving's Heroes was the first year that COVID came around. They did the news broadcast. Only 3 of you can meet. You have to be 14 and a half feet apart. One of you has to be sitting down, and one of you has to be left-handed. There's like all these random rules.
So many.
There's a lot of random rules that came out about how to protect us from this new deadly virus that was out there. And I remember watching the news, just sitting there thinking, well, that's it for this year. And it was in the fall. Like things were just kind of ramping up, and we were getting ready. And so I called Bill, and I'm like, hey, I guess we're done this year. And Bill's like, nope.
No way.
No way. What, you remember what you said to me?
I don't.
Bill said, I'm never going to forget this for the rest of my life. He goes, if you get arrested for doing this, it will be the best publicity for your charity ever.
Oh yeah, I do recall that.
And I laughed. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, let the news come.
Let the news come. And I'm like, right on, Bill. Let's do this. And the risk for Bill was we do it at Spectrum Solutions. We do Thanksgiving's Heroes in Draper, through the loading docks. It's all his staff and employees, his line, his equipment. Like the exposure was big for your organization, and you were like, we're doing this, let's get this done. Why is it so important to you?
I'm born and raised here in Utah, and it is important to me to support local businesses. So most of my vendors are Utah businesses, all that can be. And then it's important for me to support the local community in ways that we can, every way we can. So we met Rob at Hidden Valley Country Club.
That's right.
A couple years before that, in 2018, I believe. And we were doing a auction for a guitar from the Doors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
a guitar from the Doors.
It's
a band.
Yeah. Jim Morrison.
You might have heard of him.
So it was a band called Los Angeles Transit Authority, and it was guys from the Doors, from Chicago, and a couple of other bands, and they were a great band. But we started bidding on this, and it was to go to St. Jude's and Thanksgiving's Heroes, and I'd never heard of Thanksgiving's Heroes and didn't know what they were. And a friend of mine was the MC that night, Bob Caldwell, great guy, and I was excited to be part of the charity. So they started doing the auction for this guitar, and I walked up to the stage and I said, how about we just end this? And Bob was going to match any number that anybody donated. And so I walked up there and quietly whispered to Bob what I would donate. It was a good amount. And Bob said, this is what we'll do. We'll end the auction. Bill Phillips wins. We'll not only get him to get a guitar, but we'll get a drum signed by the drummer from Chicago. And so after the auction ended, dancing ensued, the band played, and Rob comes up to the table to talk to my girlfriend and I. And he said, "Thank you so much for helping our charity." And I said, "I don't just donate money." I said, "We want to be involved. We want to get our hands dirty. If we're going to really put our money where our mouth is, we want to be involved." So Rob's like, "Great. We love volunteers." And the first year we went down there, I brought 80 employees and family members, and it was done at
I
USANA.
just got goosebumps. I remember you guys marching in.
Yeah, and we had shirts made, and we all were a tour de force. We came in, and it was exciting. And we told Rob we were going to be involved, and he's like, "Yeah, great." As Rob excitement is, he's like, "Please come." But how many people say they're going to really get involved and really get involved?
Very few.
Very few. And my girlfriend is very, very big in helping and volunteering for charitable things. And our thing is, we don't want to give money where we get something in return. We want to give money for something that will go to help.
Sure.
So we go to a charity, they're auctioning off something, and I'll touch on something in a minute. But so we got involved with, and we reached out to Rob a few months later. It was in the middle of summer, and it was coming to fall. And we said, we want to get involved, and here we are. I'm taking my whole company, and we're going to come down, and we're going to help pack meals, and we're going to deliver meals. And we got there, and I don't know can you swear? Should we not swear?
Swear away.
I don't need to be crazy, but it was a shit show.
Wheels were coming off the wagon.
It was a mess.
2018, I had about 1,500 families to be fed. I had no plan to unload, no packing plan. I had no, you know me. These details are outside. I don't even think about stuff like that until the day of it. I'm like, probably should have thought of that. You know what I mean?
Girls with a megaphone.
Yeah, yelling, "We need you to come over here and grab the beans." It was
exactly that.
It was a mess.
It was a mess.
And it goes on all day. So around,
it literally took 15 plus hours to make meals, deliver meals, come back and get meals. I think you guys were still doing it at midnight, if I recall. And this was at 5 a.m.
It was snowing. It was
cold weather.
It was the worst year ever. And there was a point where Bill walked up to me, puts his hand on my shoulder and looked me in the eye, and he's like, "We're never going to do this again."
I go, "That's it, Rob. We're taking over." And he said, "Okay." I remember we were standing in the warehouse, and I said, "Next year we're going to do this differently. We're going to do it in my building, and we'll lean it out. We'll create an assembly line." And it took 18 hours to do it that year. The next year it took us 3 hours.
Yeah.
And
we were up to about 2,000 families that year, so we put in 500 more boxes. Yeah. So they did more.
Year, it was done before the volunteers even showed up.
And that was 3,000 boxes. 2,500 boxes. So even more still.
3,000 the year before.
Yep.
And so then we created a competition. We created 2 manufacturing lines. We used my warehouse. We used gravity-fed conveyors, and we started rocking. And we killed it in 2019. And then COVID came, and we couldn't let anybody in the building, so it was employees only. I paid all my employees to work during that time because we were so busy with COVID, and we'll touch on that later. But it was so great to do that, and we were done in an hour.
You should see these lines running. It's
madness.
Astounding. Like the way that they're running, like there's a box that's not built to the forklift driving out the door with a pallet of full boxes. It's astounding. And they're yelling, they're talking crap back and forth. They're yelling at each other. "How you guys doing over there, you slackers?" Like it is mayhem, and it's wonderful to witness. And every year I go, like that's one of my favorite things is like in the morning, I just want to stand there with my coffee and my donut or the burritos that you guys bring and just like watch this competition. Like, because when it kicks off, there's no joke. These are competitors. There's someone. Are they betting something? Is there something on the line?
No, just shit talking.
Just pride.
Pure pride. Yeah, I have built a team. I'm not saying I built them, but the people we have are beyond comparable. I think that they're all very passionate. They're all very good at what they do. You even said, I know lean. I've done lean. And then when you saw us do lean, you're like, holy shit.
That's lean.
we do lean.
Tell the audience what that
Yeah.
means.
So lean manufacturing is, it was in, Kanban was invented in Japan for Toyota, and it's a one-piece flow. So things flow down the line. You build the boxes, kind of an assembly line. It's the Henry Ford model,
Sure.
but you do it very well. So you backfill by other people backfilling the line. So production goes very fast. And
But then you improve. There's like this system of continuous improvement, and so every
correct.
year it's better. Like, okay, we did this last year, but this year,
yeah, we build job aids. We take pictures. We have instructions. We do inspection in line. 100% of the product is inspected. Even stuff we do for charity, we inspect it as it goes through the line, and that's part of the process. Is no mistakes from beginning to end. 100% of the product that is in line gets packaged. So it goes from 100% to finished goods, and by the end, there's 0% here and 100% in a box. So you don't have an extra gravy,
Yeah.
and so
we missed one.
No, you never
all
do.
3,000 boxes have exactly the 3,000 milks, 3,000 breads, 3,000. They're all perfectly done.
And they're all done exactly the same. If you open a box, that the stuffing is in the right-hand corner. We took photos, and we put the photos up, and that you're putting the green beans in. The 2 cans of green beans go in the right-hand corner. The stuffing goes in the left-hand corner. The pan goes in. The turkey goes in. So we're very, very particular about. We built the box. You guys never had the box like we had the box. It was a box and a bag, and
So they would come. The food would come, and I'd be like, we've got some apple boxes over there, and we got some bread boxes over there, and there was no. Yeah, and then at the end of the day, it's like, why do we have 30 extra turkeys? Like, what? Who didn't get turkeys? And,
Right.
Oh, there's a whole truckload that went to Ogden without turkeys. They had everything else. Just dumb.
It is a production that is beautiful, and it's not just us. It's the line outside has adopted this process. The kids packing potatoes in boxes, but we created a brand, so we created a box.
Yep.
We paid homage to and thanking the vendors, the people that donate money.
Yep.
And so it became very passionate for us. And then what do we do from there? Subsequently, I went out and got my vendors to donate money, donate packaging, and it grew by leaps and bounds. It's just something that it's very, very important to us. It's part of our lives now. And it's really something that we're excited about, and now we're doing it multiple times a year, which is something very exciting.
It's pretty exciting. So they're moving it was 163,000 pounds of groceries this last year, was unloaded from trucks, sorted, boxed, packaged and put out there, and then delivered. And so these guys are just like masters at the system, and it's amazing to watch anyone who's good at anything, but it's amazing to watch that this volume of material being moved so efficiently, and I admire that. And so let's talk about your business a little bit. Spectrum Solutions, this is something you've adopted. You're applying it to Thanksgiving's Heroes, but you do this for all kinds of different products and
All day, every day.
all day, every day. What are some of the things that you can talk about that Spectrum Solutions has done that you're particularly proud of?
Yeah, so we are a medical device manufacturing company. We created a saliva collection device that preserves saliva for the extraction of DNA.
Oh, wow.
Ancestry.com was our first customer that came to us. So we originally, as a company, started out as a product development and high-end packaging, and it evolved over time. So we were kind of the business level of the Shark Tank. So if you come to me with an idea, we will look at your idea. You basically pitch it to us. We talk about it. We talk about market opportunity, and then we help you do design, development, manufacturing, warehouse, distribution. We get you placed in stores. So we had products in Costco, products in Kroger nationwide. We had Costco globally, Walmart globally. And so we showed how, when originally started Spectrum, how we can take an idea from concept to the consumer. Wow. And so we did that. I have a packaging engineering background and didn't go to school. It's all self-taught. And my partner was in the soft goods industry, and he had was doing My Twin, which was clothing for your doll and for a little girl.
Yeah.
So pajamas that matched, clothing that matched. So he did it all in My Twin. He did a product called Bundle Me Baby, which is a swaddling product for a baby. And so I went to him and I said, I'd met him. He was referred to me by a customer. And I said, can you make this? And it was the lip balm on a leash. Do you guys remember that? Little
Yeah.
neoprene sleeve, hooked to your zipper. The company was called Symbiosis, and I was making all of their packaging. And so my partner said, well, let's make the neoprene sleeve. And I went back to them and pitched the idea, and soon we were making the neoprene sleeve, and we made that for them for 7 years, all branded. It could say Harley Davidson on it or anything else on it. And we did that for a while. We helped them take that to market. Then we made a product called Knapsack, which was a Lovesack competitor. Took that to market. It was wildly successful in Costco. And we set off to create this company. Luckily for me, I got fired from my job previous to that because they thought it was a conflict of interest that I was doing this on the side. I was selling packaging for them, and I got fired. And my partner rejoiced, and I cried. This was in July of 2005.
Oh, wow.
No kidding.
Yeah. So we set off to make this business, and it was we were successful right out of the gate. We started with $100,000, and that was in August 1 we started, and we had made $500,000 by the end of December.
Wow.
Wow.
And we grew and grew and grew, and then in 2010, when the market changed, we really struggled. We were doing all the packaging for people like Monavi, Rosango, New Skin, packaging for those kind of people, multi-level marketing, liquor. So fast forward to 2012, Ancestry.com came to us and said, hey, will you help us develop a customer experience for a product we're launching, which is testing DNA for genealogy? And I said, well, they brought me a product, it was really clunky, and I said, if you really want to do it well, let's create a better saliva collection device. And that's what we set off to do. We launched that in November of 2013. And we were supposed to make 20,000 a month, 20 to 25,000 a month for the first year. Our very first run was 44,000 pieces.
Holy cow.
And then from there, our next month was 60,000 and then 80,000. Mind you, I'm on the line hiring people. We'd never done manufacturing before, so we were contracting out, but our vendors couldn't move like we wanted. So I went to my partner and said, let's bring this in-house. And that's how we became a manufacturer. First, we started the kitting. We're making milestones. I'm handing out $100 bills to employees. Like, we got to meet these numbers. And we got to where we were doing 1 million kits a month for
Oh my
Ancestry.com.
Oh, my gosh.
So we brought the kit. We had the kitting in-house. Then we brought device assembly in-house. We built a clean room. And we were making a medical device in-house. So then we had a quality system, a regulatory system. And this device was our device that Ancestry was using. So we went out to seek out the market to say, if we could build a really great mousetrap for Ancestry, why couldn't we sell this on the street? Labs, research universities,
Sure.
things of that nature. So we went out, hired a sales guy in 2014 to do that, and we really fucked it up. In truth, we thought we had the best mousetrap. We did, but our preservation solution, which is a secret sauce inside to preserve your DNA, was not. It was very good and optimal for Ancestry, but it was really terrible for everybody else.
So
Why was that?
Whatever, but like we're talking about, what else would you be collecting for? Like for disease or sickness?
Yeah, genetics,
Oh,
really. So
always.
they were doing it for research, and it was using saliva as a biosample was really, really new at that time. It was the brick phone of the cell phones.
First
right?
thing on in the market.
First time.
Yeah.
And so it was clunky. People didn't know what to do. Did they believe that it was really good? There was a lot of doubters that saliva was a good biosample. Blood was the gold standard. Urine, biome, gut health. And so we had to go out and prove that it was good. So we refined our preservation solution, and it worked really well. The best on the market. There was a competitor out there, but we had really good intellectual property. And so we went out and sold it, and we did pretty well. Not great, but Ancestry was our cash maker. And we got to, and I don't want to boast, I'm not trying to boast, but I'll tell you kind of how so you can gauge revenue. But we went from about 10 million to 47 million in sales.
Oh my God.
So that was in 2018, 2017, 2018. We're doing really well. So my partner and I we're having a great time, and we're trying to take over the world and one saliva collection device at a time. So in 2018, 2018, 2019. Ancestry is doing really well. We're doing really well with Ancestry. And in 2020, we all know what happens. COVID hits. The world stops doing everything, including looking up genealogy using saliva. So there was a shortage of swabs on the market. And I call my chief science officer and I say, hey, what about saliva? And he said, saliva's a great tool. He goes, that snot up near your nose where they do the swab, the nasal pharyngeal swab, that's the one that goes way up into your brain.
Yeah.
That people wince at. And they said, well, nobody's going to pay $5, $8, $10 for a saliva collection device when a swab is 25 cents. And I said, but if you can't get a swab and people are dying, what are people going to pay? So at that time, we only manufactured the device in-house, but we were having the plastics made. So we had a facility in Malaysia, and we had a facility here. And we weren't molding our own plastics. We were just starting to build. We had a couple machines coming soon, and we could injection mold our own plastic. So we weren't fully integrated at that time. We were buying our plastics outside. And so we submit our device. We test for it. It works really well. It not only works really well, it works better than a swab because it preserves the RNA bacteria, but it kills the live virus.
Whoa.
So now I'm not sending a biosample in the mail that has a live virus on it. I'm sending an inactive virus. You could have spit into it, and you could have drank it, and you wouldn't have got it as COVID.
Really?
But it still has the
Preservation
the
solution.
flags are yeah.
And it not only tested really well, it could test you what your viral load was. So it preserved the RNA so well. So mind you, we were testing DNA, and COVID was an RNA virus. So now we're testing RNA using saliva. It was never meant to happen. This is pure luck that this preservation solution worked this well. And so we submit to the FDA, and the FDA goes gangbusters. They're like, great.
Well,
We're
we'd
the
like
very
a billion of those, please.
Very first one in the world to use saliva for COVID testing.
Wow.
So we set off to build a mountain. And I'm not exaggerating. I spent $18 million on CapEx. We brought in 11 injection molding machines. I built a clean room, the size 5,000 square feet to hold 9 injection molding machines. We call it the big garage because every machine costs as much as a Ferrari.
Oh my gosh.
So
The big garage.
the big garage. And we built that room, and I'm not exaggerating. Thanks to my friend Chris Morris from Stonecraft. He put together a plan. I said, I need this now, and I will incentivize you to get this done as fast as possible. He worked 24 hours a day. We submitted for a permit to Draper City, and 3 days later they were coming for an inspection. We were working 24 hours a day. They were. And we were building product. We were able to build only a few thousand kits a day because we were Ancestry business had slowed way down, so we had backed off. We had reduced our staff, and we were able to make 3,000 kits a day. And by the time we were done, we were able to make 4 million kits a month.
4 million kits a month.
Serious?
And we built the room in 100 days. We built it in 90 days. 10 days later, we had it validated. We were molding parts out of it. We were working 24 hours a day. Matter of fact, we built a bubble around it, and the group that came in to do the material handling to move the plastic through the pipes to get into the injection molding machines was a group called Motan, and they were out of Germany. And they're the ones who do 100% of the material handling for Legos globally. They voluntarily flew here to do that for us. They built a bubble around it. They all had COVID. They were sick. They had quarantined themselves into this bubble, and as long as they could get up and move, they were going to get this done for us.
Oh my God.
So everybody in this bubble had COVID. They were sick as hell. And we built that room, and we're operating in 100 days. At the other end of our building, we had to build a room to assemble the device. So that's a 12,000 square foot clean room. And we built that and was operating it in 125 days. We went from set 95 employees to 800 in 100 days. I mean, we looked like the backlot studios of Universal. We were giving tours, onboarding. We were using our kitchens. We were using offices. We were giving classes to onboard because we're a medical device manufacturer. We have a management system and a quality system that you have to educate to before people can just start putting together products and packaging. So we had done that. President Trump spoke about us on TV. He called us innovation under pressure. He goes, you know that device you spit into? Have you seen it? He's like, when he was talking about shoving the light up his ass, remember that?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
guys remember that?
Yeah.
He talked about, he's like, we're not going to do this. We're going to win. And, you know, this is what America does. And he was talking about the light. And he goes, and then this thing you spit into. I spit into one the other day. Well, we had just tested the Senate floor. Yeah, so we worked with a local senator here. And we sent everything to the Senate floor. And we were testing the Senate floor every day while they were on the floor working.
Oh, my God. That is incredible.
So we get
What a ride, right?
Yeah,
what
right?
a crazy ride.
So we get a call, we get approval from the FDA, and we do a press release. And I get a call from, I'm in a meeting, and one of my sales guys knocks on the door and walks in, and I'm on a Zoom because it's mayhem right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We're trying to expand the facility. We're trying to hire, and the news is there. Bloomberg is there, the Today Show. My chief science officer was on the Today Show, Good Morning America. I mean, it's just nonstop. And so my sales guy comes in and he goes, hey, the phone's for you. And I said,
I'm
Colby, I'm on a call right now.
Yeah.
And he said, no, you're going to want to take this. It's the White House.
What?
Hold, please.
Yeah, and I said, I looked, and I'm no shit. I'm not exaggerating. And you've been in my office; it's all glass offices. I come out of my office and I walk around the corner to go to his office to take the call, and all my employees are lined up down the hall, all of them, and they're just wide-eyed, in shock. I can vividly remember the day.
Wow.
So I go in, I take the call, and it's the head of the COVID task force right under Pence. And he said, first, I'd like to say congratulations. Second, I'd like to say, what can we do to help you?
What?
Oh, my God.
And I was taken aback. I'm like, thank you. I'm not looking for accolades. I'm looking to we had one single product in our preservation solution that was a shortage globally. And I said, it's called guanidine. I said, I need guanidine. I said, but I'm going to put together a list of what we need to help expand. I said, I'm not looking for free money. I said, but I'm going to spend a lot of money to expand my facility. And that's what I need. He's like, great, come back to me. I did come back to him. They didn't do jack shit.
What?
Oh, really?
Government didn't do anything but get in my way. I'm not exaggerating. They did nothing but stop me. I was talking to
Oh, my God.
5-star generals on the phone. I was talking to senators. I was talking to people that most people don't talk to on a daily basis. Head of the FBI. I was talking to the head of the CEO of Wynn Hotels. People were calling me like you can't believe, and still I couldn't get anything. Finally, one of our vendors helped us get this guanidine. We got out of China. We got 3 containers. So now we have the most guanidine in the world in my building today, still today. But anyway, so I got a call, and about 10 days later, so mind you, the world is shut down. And I was skiing in Alaska when the world shut down. I was the last people to be skiing, and we were the last 5 people to fly out of Alaska to come home. And my buddies and I. And so I get home and we go through this process. And I'm at home with my family. We're having a Sunday dinner, so I have all my kids over. My kids are grown adults, my girlfriend. We have a young daughter as well. And my phone rings. And, so mind you, at that time, my business partner is friends with Michael Jordan. And this is not a name drop. This leads into something. So Michael Jordan calls my partner. He's like, hey, G, I hear you guys have this COVID test. We don't want to test our members with a swab. We want to be able to send it to their house. Can you help me out? He said, call my partner. So it wasn't him. It was his, ran his golf country club called, the Grove 23 in Florida, in Jupiter. And so he calls me. He said, hey, Michael told me to call you. And what happened was we tested his facility. We tested all of his members because members wanted to come back and golf. So they tested all the employees and all the members, and they created this little bubble so people could keep golfing. Rich people could golf. And that Sunday, I get a call from Major League Baseball. and he was the greatest guy. And he calls me and he said, "Hey, I got your name from Derek Jeter." So Jordan had told Jeter, he's like, "How are you getting
Yeah.
people?"
Yeah. Word of mouth.
He said, "I got your name from Derek Jeter and told me to give you a call. So I'm calling you." And he was the head of drug testing for all of baseball. And he said, "We need your help. As you know, sports are shut down. Everything's shut down." And this was in April. Spring. They were just coming out of spring training to start the season, but they shut down spring training in March, if you remember. And he said, "We want your help to help develop a protocol for testing to test all the players. We want to bring sports back. We're going to create a little mini training camp, and then we're going to go full blown." And so I worked with him, and we started working for baseball. And baseball was the first sport to come back.
Yeah.
And NBA was trying to do it. They were doing swabs and everything. And so baseball was back. Spring training started. We tested them. And his name John Coyles. He's the greatest guy. And all of baseball, we're the most loving, non-arrogant. And I'm a baseball fan, so this was like a thing for me. I was like, this is awesome. A huge baseball fan. And I was in heaven. And I remember hanging up the phone on that Sunday. And I walked back out of the office into the family, and the whole family was just standing there staring at me. And they said, my girlfriend said, "So it was cooler, the White House or Major League Baseball?" And I said, "Oh, obviously Major League Baseball." Obviously. So we get a call from the NFL. John Coyles is like, "Hey, I'm friends with all drug testing people." And ironically, the lab who does all drug testing for baseball is in Sandy.
Yeah.
Sports Medicine Research Testing Laboratory, Smyrtle. And he's like, "We're going to get you in touch with Smyrtle." They test the UFC. They test the U.S. Olympic athletes. They test USADA, which is a cycling for Tour de France and U.S. cycling, and U.S. ski and snowboard team and stuff. So we started working with them, and we tested the U.S. ski snowboard team, all Olympic athletes. We tested 160 major Division I universities. We tested all of Major League Baseball for all of that year, all of 21 and all of 22. We tested the Mexican League, Dominican, winter ball, and then private teams when they were doing private training. It was awesome. It was so awesome. And we'll talk about the access I got because of it. But so this is really cool. So we test the PGA. And we're on a private jet. My chief science officer on the daily is flying to events on a private jet, collecting samples, and then flying back.
To get results.
Yeah. We tested 35 million people.
Holy
cow. Crap.
35 million people.
35 million people. Wow.
So our mantra has always been, and it will always be, is how can we help change, enhance, and save lives? And I think we did a pretty good job at that time. So going back to what we were saying, I tried to set a kind of an understanding of where we were. We had gone down. Our business had slowed down a lot. Ancestry was not doing very well. Our business slowed down to 25 million. In 2019, we went to, from 2019 to 2020, we went to 100 million. And then we went to 120 million in 2021. So it was insane. We were working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I worked 300 straight days. I had employees work longer and more hours than I did. I was on the phone at 1 o'clock in the morning with somebody in African country, a leader of a country, and I'm getting a text from the CEO of the Wynn because the hotels, casinos were shut down. They're shitting their pants. And I'm taking a text, "Hey, I'm so-and-so from the Wynn." And I say, "I'm on a call right now. I'll call you after." I'd be up till 2, 3 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, back up at 5. So when I tell you I worked 300 straight days, it was 300 straight days, morning, noon, and night. I was close to having a nervous breakdown. My chief science officer died. Very close friend of mine, died in 21, coming out of it in January. And he died of a heart attack. He had surgery, and the stress on him, he didn't stop. The news was all over him. Business was all over him. His lab expanded. He was doing 100,000 COVID tests a day, processing. They were testing 100% of Minnesotans every day as often as you wanted. They put a lab in Minnesota. The governor said we're going to test everybody as frequently as they want, and that's what we were doing. We were sending 100,000 kits out a day out the door, direct to consumer. We had 3 UPS trucks in our dock every day, full semis, rotating every single day out of our door.
Just like picking them up, dropping them off, picking them up.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Doing fulfillment. So we were shipping 100,000 packages a day, every single day. So we had priority access to UPS. We had priority access to anything you can imagine. It was happening as fast as we could move product, and it was insane. We were going crazy. We were doing products for many companies. So that was insane. It was something that none of us had ever done, and we'll never do again. You know, it's just you build to those types of things, and then you don't have to build it again. You know, so it was the greatest and the hardest thing I've ever done. I don't have a scientific background, but we have the most innovative collection device on the market. I don't have a manufacturing background, but we have the most precise product on the market. So fast forward to beyond that, we are fully integrated now. So we batch our own preservation solution. We have manufacture and assemble our own medical device. We do contracting manufacturing for medical devices. We have customers that do microbiome gut health. We do a ring for vagina atrophy for women who have dryness. So we're very innovative. We create and engineer our own products. We have engineering in-house. We do device assembly in-house. We do all packaging in-house. We do fulfillment ourselves. We own our own lab now. We process our own products. We are a highly complexity infectious disease lab. And now we make our own microarray chips where we put the science on the chip. And we own our own compounding pharmacy. So we're end-to-end, test, treat, monitor, maintain. So we do it all in-house.
Holy cow. I had no idea, Bill. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's bananas.
It is bananas.
I have a lot of questions.
Sorry, I've been rambling.
No, that was
stitching together a life
that was
of where we are today, and then then we can talk about what happens with science after that. But yeah, please ask away.
okay. Here's hang on tight. Yeah. Hang on tight. Well, we're all good at something. We're all good at something.
Yeah.
You came from the packaging world. That was your thing. You were good at the designing and the engineering and the packaging, and that was your niche. That was kind of where you grew up, right?
I'm a Lego kid.
Lego kid.
Yeah,
put it together.
Legos help me in design. We do Salt City Vodka. We make all their packaging. Those guys are beautiful people. I love them.
They are amazing people.
We created a vodka line for Sutter Home called Menage a Trois. You guys know that wine?
Yeah.
We made all their spirits lines. We designed packaging for them. We've done tequila products. We do liqueurs. We do packaging for, we did a lot of Everlywell. I don't know if you guys know who they are. You can test for hormones and food allergies and all that stuff. We were doing their product. We don't do theirs anymore, but those are things we were doing for people all over. We did stuff for, a lot of other people. So it's been fun.
So the question then is, I'm reading a book called The Who Not How. Have you read that book?
No.
And I think this will be the answer, but how are you a compounding pharmacy and all these different things? You have lines of expertise that are going out in all of these different directions, these spokes of your business, as it were, that are completely 100% unique business models. These are not, of course, they're all related. They're all related to the delivery of your product, but they're all independent studies. How are you finding this talent? How are you able to scale to do this kind of a thing?
Yeah, great question. Going back to what I said, we have amazing people that are infinitely more bright than I am. I've just been lucky to have great people in my life and people I love dearly, and those people beget great people. And so I think that the expertise of my staff is key. I have been always super resourceful. I didn't grow up with a lot. So, if I wanted a pair of shoes in 1981, I wanted a pair of Nikes, I had to go mow lawns until I could afford $17 to buy a pair of Nikes.
Yeah.
$17 Foot Locker. So I'm more of a survivor. Like if I run fast enough, the road crumbling behind me will never catch up. So that's been my mantra. I run mostly out of fear, not out of arrogance, right? And then it's taking an order from a customer and then going back, going, shit. Now what do I do? Now I got to figure out how to fulfill that order, and that's really how it started. And so these expansions are out of necessity because other people could not react and rise the way I needed them to do that. And I figured out if I do it differently, I'll get better product quicker. So one of the things we do is we pay our employees through incentive. So I'll pay you well, and I'll help you make more money. So
if we can meet these
goals. So you gotta meet the goal. You gotta do it with quality.
Right.
No product rejected, and we got to do it on time. So you build a reputation. So then people start coming to you, right? Reference business. So pretty soon you're not chasing business, you're getting reference business. Your reputation kind of precedes you. And then necessity, going back to necessity, my friends at Ancestry left and started an allergy company called Nectar. And it's a direct-to-consumer allergy company where we create the test, and then from that test, we create the allergen. So we're the first direct-to-consumer, not the first, but one of the leaders of direct-to-consumer testing blood spot card, delivering the allergy to the consumer right at home, creating the allergen that drips under their tongue. They came to me and said, "You want to be part of this?" I said, "Yes." Bam, I built a compounding pharmacy, and we're off to the races.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that's how...
See a problem, find a solution.
Yes. Wow.
Again and again and again.
Yeah, and people who are willing to put faith in you and partner with you. So I have great friends that are my customers, and I have great friends who are my employees, and I have great friends who are my vendors, and we work our ass off. We'll win together, we lose together, sometimes we cry together, and if they know that they're always going to get honesty from me and transparency, I'm very vendor loyal, so I figure if I'm loyal to my vendors, my customers will be loyal to their vendor. It's just something. My mom was a waitress her whole life growing up, and so I use that same mantra of treating the customer well for my mom. That's what she taught me, that you'll be rewarded. And so I just kind of took that mindset into business. You know?
Yeah. Amazing.
Wow. I never meant to be an entrepreneur, never thought I would be until a couple years before I started Spectrum. I'm like, I'm going to figure out how manufacturing works. I'm going to figure out how distribution works. And so I set off to do that. I worked for several packaging companies and try to figure out all these things. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to go do it myself. And timing wasn't what I expected when I got fired.
Yeah.
But
what a blessing.
What a blessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the reward, but there's a great amount of pain. Anybody who is in business for yourself, I think you guys are all entrepreneurs. Oh shit, it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it goes bad.
Yep. Because it's not just the boss that's suffering. It's like, this is your baby. You've lost sleep over this.
And you got families that rely on you now, right? I have 800 employees.
Yeah.
I don't have 800 today. I have 120. But we build in efficiencies. We engineered our own equipment. We couldn't get automation when we were doing this. It was 5 years or 2-3 years and $5 million. We're like, I think we can do it ourselves. So we started building Legos.
Yeah.
I hired engineers and guys who could build equipment and guys who were resourceful, and we build our own automation. So if you ever come to our facility, we have all handmade automated equipment to build our products. Mind you, we took machines that were already available, and we cobbled them together,
Frankensteined them.
Yeah, but in a very high-end level.
Yeah.
If you know my facility, it's
I do.
very sexy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It has sex
that
appeal.
you should say that. Like, I'm kind of incredulous because I've been there and I'm like, nothing looks like it's been thrown together. There's not a piece of duct tape in the whole place. You know? Baling wire.
None of that. Yeah, silicone.
None of that.
No, nothing.
None of that. Well, then my next question then is, my mentor told me early on, your ability to be successful in the world, Rob, will be directly related to your ability to manage and handle stress. Mm-hmm. Does that resonate with you? Your ability to be successful in the world, if you can't handle the stress, you'll never have that level of success. It's about when they go to the playoffs, the people that are in the playoffs, that's stressful. And if they can't handle it, they can't play. And that's just kind of how it is in the world. I hear your story, and I think about the tremendous amount of stress, 300 days of 12 to 15-hour days, what that must look like over the time. How did you manage your stress?
20-hour days.
20-hour days.
For 300 straight days.
How'd you do that? And I guess maybe how do you continue to do it? What are some of the things you've learned?
I lost my shit now and then.
It wasn't graceful.
Having faith in the people who were on my team carried a lot of weight. My girlfriend says this a lot, but you can do hard. And so she breaks it down. You can do hard for a month. You can do hard. And then one of our other things she says is, what if it all works out?
Or it could all work out.
What if it works out? Like, really? I mean, you can think negatively and you can give up, but what if you don't give up and it works out? So I have a little thing that she wrote, and I leave it on my computer that says, what if it all works out? So that's a mantra I live by. I'm very positive. I'm very at work. They see me melting down. They can see it on my face. I don't hide it well. One thing I'm always is honest to my employees.
To everybody.
In the business world and friends, I'm very direct and honest. I've been clunky in relationships. I've not done them well. I think I'm doing it really well now, but I had to grow up a lot. But the other part is integrity in business is key. Right. And my employees see it. We're always honest. I directly head into. I'll use an example. A guy told me this the other day, and I thought this is very apropos. Is a cow in a storm runs away from the storm. Do you guys know this?
No.
Proverb? And I'm going to expand on it a little bit. But a cow runs away from the storm. They run, and they're always right ahead of the storm. But they never get the storm. But they're running their ass off, and they're exhausted. And eventually, the storm catches them. So they're not better off. They're running away. They're not facing it. A buffalo turns and faces the storm. They put their head down, and they walk right into that storm. Why? Because they know that storm will be short-lived. That storm will pass them by, and they'll be on the other side of that storm. The cow never gets on the other side of the storm to find out how sunny it is.
So
That's
the buffalo
so
actually
powerful.
suffers less. The buffalo is like going like into the storm, through the storm.
Much shorter suffrage.
The
Yeah.
buffalo puts his shoulders down, head, and
Head,
they go right
right through the
into
storm.
it one step at a time.
How many
Follow each
pictures
other.
do you see of beautiful buffalo covered in
Yeah.
snow
Yeah.
with their head down?
Yeah.
That's because they're facing the storm.
Interesting. Wow, great lesson.
That is Scott's favorite story or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, he throws it around.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'll tell you about honesty with conversations with you. With Thanksgiving's Heroes, I've never meant to have a nonprofit. That's never been a goal of mine, honestly. And there's
Yeah, we're all for profit.
yeah,
We're not here to practice.
Yeah.
We're here to get paid.
Yeah. And so as I put Thanksgiving's Heroes together, right back to 2018, when you first put your arm on my shoulder and I'll never forget the look like, you're never doing this again. We've had honest conversations that have been, in my opinion, kind of painful. A little bit painful, because when you're talking about my baby, Thanksgiving's Heroes is my baby, it's my business, and the advice that he gave me was pretty brutal, and you're one of the few people in the world that wasn't the sycophant, like, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. If you want this to grow, this is what you've got to do. And there was no, like, making it worse or making it better. There was no sunshine, or it was just what you got to do. This is it. And I took that. I've taken your advice very seriously.
I know.
Of the people that I've ever given me advice, because there's a lot. A lot of people want to give advice, and most of them are clear full of it. But Bill Phillips, when he tells you something, it's the truth. It's his best estimation of what probably needs to happen. And I've really applied it to my business and my personal life, but a lot to the charity. And so I can see you doing this in your business over and over again. But the way that you do it is there's just no ego in it. It's just like, this is it. It's very almost like you're visiting a doctor, and you're gonna have to take 2 a day until the bottle's empty. You know what I mean?
It's logical.
It's logical.
1 plus
Yeah.
2,
And this is
on we
it.
go.
But I don't do it out of malice.
Yeah.
I do it purely out of love, and I don't do it to people that I don't care about.
Yeah.
I care greatly for you. I think you know that.
I do.
feel it from you as well. That reciprocates. But I do it. I'm not all-knowing. God, I'm not all-knowing. One thing I know is I don't know shit, And I think if you keep your mind in that way, my dad's always told me when I was a kid is, if you don't learn something every day, you're not living.
Ooh, yeah, big believer in
And he
that.
said, so go and live. So I've used that mantra every day. I'm going to learn something new. And I don't mean it doesn't have to be educational. I think the things you can learn on the street are sometimes greater than things you learn in a book, right?
Right. Back in the warehouse, there's some things going down.
Yeah, I say this. I didn't go to college. I went to Pick and Shovel University.
Hey.
Pick and shovel.
Pick and Shovel University.
That's good.
My dad taught me how to do both of those, and to bleed for it. So, my dad was a really hard worker. He'd leave for work and be to work 2 hours before he's supposed to be there, and work hard. And that's all I knew, because we didn't come from much. So you had to work your ass off to get, whether you're mowing lawns. I was buying all my own clothes for school and everything when I was 15 years old, because we didn't have much, and I loved clothes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, make money, buy clothes.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Work hard, get what I want. Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I never borrowed $5 from my dad my whole life. And I figured I wasn't able to borrow $5 from my dad. So I had to be resourceful. So when you and I meet and talk and we debrief, one thing Rob is very good at is, let's round table at the end of every season. What do we do great? What do we do better on? And my 1 year was really out of constructive frustration. Like, we need to be better, more successful. We need to feed more people. How are we going to do that? And so we talked about goals. We talked about organization.
Yep.
We talked about creating workflow and bylaws and things that only things that I'd learned about through Hard Knocks, and so I was not trying to be. I don't like the word advice, but it's something that if I saw something and I think that there was a way to improve it, I was going to share it. And the greatest part about Rob is he's so open to asking and receiving. You're a very humble guy.
Thank you. I
And-
consider myself incredibly uncoachable. wildly unteachable. So thanks.
but and so I just, if I didn't care about it so much, I wouldn't lean in so much. And so that's the part of it. I want it to be successful. I want to help people. I want to help, and he is my avenue to helping people, right? I'm not going to go start a nonprofit. God, I don't want to do that. And
It's a lot of work.
my girlfriend, she really puts her money where her mouth is. She got on the board. She
Yeah.
started working part of the team, and she did that for a few years.
Yep.
And our family was invested. My daughter, my kids, all my kids come
Yep.
and get involved. My older daughters deliver meals. My youngest daughter, from my previous marriage, was managed all of Thanksgiving's Heroes. She manages all the packaging,
Sydney.
the logistics. She does everything. Make sure the trucks get there with your team.
Terrifying, by the way. She is terrifying. That girl's getting stuff done.
Yeah, she is my junior.
She's amazing.
She is awesome.
Yeah.
She's a badass. So she's going to be 30 next month. And then I have a 10-year-old, and that 10-year-old is in it. She works on the line.
Yep.
She folds boxes. She hands out food. She goes outside. She throws potatoes.
Yep.
She's not afraid. She's like directing traffic.
Yep.
She's like telling people where to get shit done.
Yeah. Buy a T-shirt. She's schlepping. She's doing the stuff.
She's not a shy.
I love that kid.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
So our family's in it, and it's fun, and we're helping Utah people. The thing that drives me crazy with charity is I'm going to give $1 to someone. There's so many needy people around the world, and we can't save everybody. But why every $1 we give has to leave Utah to go help people in another country or in another state or an inner city in Chicago?
Yeah.
Yep.
If you just look around, so many people here
Yeah.
Need it.
need it.
Kids.
kids, adults, people.
yeah.
And the greatest part about Thanksgiving Heroes is we did a charity. So I started having my employees before I met Rob. We would do this thing where we would go feed families at Christmas, and we worked through with a local church or something like that. And then we met Rob. This was better because these families didn't know. They weren't coming. The year before it was really sour. Before we met Rob, we were working at this church, and how people got free meals was if your cell phone bill was on your address, you got a meal. And you guys were married, and if your electric payment was in your name, you both got a meal. So you got in line with your bill in South Jordan, and you got in line with your bill in South Jordan. People were pulling up in BMWs with 4 people in the car.
All
and
with their own
4
bill?
meals were getting loaded to go to one house.
What?
And it was disgusting. It was disgusting. People were coming and taking. People who didn't need them. Families were unloading. We were moving seats and cars and packing the car so full of food. It was disgusting. And I said, we got to find something else that is real. And Thanksgiving Heroes is real because the families are nominated. Unbeknownst to them, they're getting it. You have a beautiful line that says, hey, you guys have been nominated by somebody in your community, and we're going to be delivering a Thanksgiving meal to you. I'm paraphrasing this, but
It's almost word for word.
and it's so beautiful because those people are purely joyful. And if you've never done it, deliver a meal. If you want to be humbled, deliver a meal.
Yeah.
If you want to feel grateful, deliver a meal. Don't come pack a meal. Go deliver a meal.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, man.
So we do the kidding for them at Thanksgiving, but my family, we go get in line the other times a year and we go deliver meals.
Amazing.
Powerful.
It's
Yeah,
amazing,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
All right. Bill.
Sorry, I'm talking.
No, please.
please
You're
keep
making
going.
this is most of the time we throw the ball over into there, and sometimes it comes back, and so this is really very, very fun.
It is.
Enjoying it. Back to the incredible growth, surrounding yourself with the people, and managing your stress. You've got all of these things happening, going in all these different directions. How do you maintain a level of focus in your life or balance?
Fitness, working out is key to staying healthy body. Allows you for higher levels of focus, right? You think you can, you have endurance.
You got to be in shape.
You got to be in shape.
Yep.
Yeah. So I have one of my employees is a bigger guy, and we were sitting at a table with a bunch of really high level people that had come in, and he left, and he goes, God, I need to lose some weight. And I said, I just want you to look around the room at all the people that are successful. I said, how many of them in the room are fat? He said none of them were. I said, that's something you got to keep in mind. So we all lose and gain a little bit of weight, but fitness is key. Quality time with family is key.
Tell me about that. What does that look like for you?
So we do, my girlfriend and I do therapy. I think therapy is key. It's important in our life anyway. I think you can be a better you through therapy. So we do, it's a her, we, me. She does it one time, we do it together, I do it by myself. So we have individual and then couples therapy ongoing. We've been doing this for a while, and I think our relationship is infinitely better because of it. I'm better at work. I'm less of a bull, meaning that you're more. It's more thought provoking, right? You think through things. You're like, oh, in therapy, my therapist said,
Here's what I learned.
yeah, and then you apply it, right? In real life, you're like, hey, listen, you know how to make your marriage better?
Yeah.
Call this lady.
Yeah.
You know? But
I've actually got her number.
actually, I was to say, wait a minute.
I'm one of those guys.
And so those are the types of things. But you guys know that being in business is all the reward and all the pain. And I said that earlier. In my first year, my first years in business for 9 years, I didn't take one day off. Well, I took it like a day off here and a day off there, like to take my daughter to college or to those types of things. But I didn't take a vacation, and I was no better off.
Not taking the time off?
Well, you're running a business and you got your head down and you're trying to grow it. But then my biggest regret is putting my head down and not taking a day off. Because I wasn't engaged, my kids were growing, going through school. I was there in body but not in mind. I'm on the phone. I'm trying to make deals. I'm trying to run a business. If the business doesn't run, it goes out of business. I'm the one running the business. And it wasn't like an arrogant thing. It was just we were so lean. We didn't have enough people.
It was the season.
Yeah.
And the season, when I say that, the season in life, I think that there's a period in every person's life that this happens. That you have to...
If you're going to get ahead.
You have to really get hyper-focused on getting the ball rolling. And then, thank God, it gets rolling, and you can kind of take your foot off the gas a little bit. But I don't necessarily know.
You don't take it off the gas.
Maybe you've just gained momentum, and you can apply leverage differently.
Just now and then you can put it on cruise control, right? You're still hauling ass.
Yeah.
Or you find somebody that can take this aspect off your plate.
Sure.
And then that opens up a window of a little time for the family.
And how hard is that?
It's hard.
When you build a business yourself and you're running it yourself, and I'm sales and I'm delivery and I'm purchasing and I'm
accountant.
Project management, and then how do you give up that control of this thing that you've created and pass it off to someone else and trust them that they're going to do it right? That's very, very hard to do. It was very hard for a long time for me to do that. There's that, and then having great people. I think you guys have heard this. The sign of a good leader is the people who works for you. It's not how great you lead those people who work for you, right? It's putting smarter people in place that are infinitely smarter than you, and having faith that you're not doing it out of fear. You're doing it out of progress. Right? My partner and I, when we first started Spectrum, we'd hire people. I hired sales guys, and we went through a shitload of sales guys, and we would hire 6 and 7s. We consider ourselves a 9 or a 10. You consider yourself a 10, right? I know my craft.
Yeah.
You know your craft. And we'd hire 7s, and you thought, we'll hire a 7 and we'll turn them into a 9. Never.
They're always 7s.
Never didn't work.
Huh.
Matter of fact, if they got a little momentum, they turned into a 6
Really?
because they'd coast.
There's traits that happen, the 9s and 10s that you're talking about. There's character traits that exist in those type of people.
Yeah.
And if they don't have
No
that,
quit.
you can't exactly.
Yeah.
Like the commonality that I see is like college athletes. If you've done something as a college athlete, you've gotten yelled at a bunch. Like sales guys, there's a skill set that they possess.
Yeah.
And teaching it is almost impossible.
Impossible. Yeah. You can't teach up. You can't coach up. Especially when people are past that moldable state, right?
Yeah.
Meaning that 25, 35-year-old, 40-year-old people, and as you get older, they become less coachable.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they think and tell you they know more than you.
Yeah.
So you have to have people that are open for growth, and so we got rid of all 6s and 7s, and we're almost out of business. We were a dollar away from being out of business. We were getting embezzled by one of my employees. She just sold $350,000, all of our operating capital. This was in 2010, and my partner and I were fighting like a married couple. A partnership is a sexless marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, and you know what not having sex is? Just pisses you off.
There you are again.
Right. I get nothing from you, literally.
Yeah.
And so we decided we were going to course correct, and we were going to only hire 9s and 10s. And we did. And you have to pay for them. But God, it paid off. The business took off. We did better. We were hiring 10s every day, and they had the same mindset, same culture. And then culture is everything.
Yes.
We have a very great culture in my business. Very good culture.
Very good culture. Amazing.
Love, positivity. It's not kumbaya. We get pissed off. People yell in the hall. We have fuck you fights in the hall, but it's because they're passionate.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll let you fight it out all day long because you're both passionate.
Yeah.
If one of you gives up and walks away, that means you don't give a shit, and you're like,
Then
So
it doesn't matter
it's
anyway.
not important.
Yeah.
It has to be important,
Yeah.
right? If you're going to fight it out, it has to be important. And we do if you guys have ever done that Stephen Covey 7 Habits for Highly Effective People, one of his things is self-empowerment, right? It's take risks, don't take chances, because a risk is something thought out and calculated. A chance is something that you're just throwing chance to the wind.
See what happens.
Just see what happens.
Yeah.
We don't take chances in our business. We take risks. And I self-empower. I let people lead. I don't micromanage. I don't hover over people. Matter of fact, I don't have call sheets for my salespeople. I don't have you can't hide. You're either going to work hard and be successful.
Results or no results.
Exactly right. You can't hide.
Yeah.
And so I tell people, when I hire you, I tell them that. I'm very clear about that. You are the entrepreneur of your position. I'm not going to hire 2 of you, and you're going to run and lead this business, which is quality, regulatory, purchasing, project management, marketing, engineering, whatever that department is. Every one of those people are 10s. They're badasses, and they're running a business. Matter of fact, they teach me more than I know, and when I sit in these meetings with these people, I marveled by them, and that is something that is exciting.
That is exciting. It's exciting. How would it be to be surrounded in a room full of people, of problem solvers, instead of those list takers? I feel like in my businesses, I've hired a lot of list takers.
Yeah, you and I talked about that at lunch one time.
Yeah, and it's exhausting.
And you cleaned house, right? What'd you do?
Cleaned house. This just isn't working. If you can't bring me a solution, you're bringing me a problem, and I've got enough problems.
Yeah.
You know.
Wait, here's my one albatross, and here's my other albatross, and I got a backpack full of monkeys. And,
and now you're going to bring me one more. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't need the burden.
Yeah, and so that's amazing. I really respect that mentality, and it's evident, by the way, when I walk around on the big day. There's a lot of problems being solved in a hurry. There's not time to have a committee. This needs to be taken care of. We know what our mission is. We know how that we perform. We know how this works. What's the solution? And away we go. And it is awesome.
And people aren't looking at other people for the solution.
Yeah. They're like, I got this.
Yeah.
They're taking the problems and fixing them.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And
they're super kind. Like, I haven't met anyone. Every time I'm around your company, I'm always thinking the only asshole in the room is me.
Wait, there's no assholes.
Wait a second.
Oh, no.
That means
there's one everywhere. Yeah, I always ask, and I always ask you, but I always ask everybody when people come and visit Spectrum, and we do a tour, and I give people carte blanche to like do whatever they're doing. People that come in, I always in closing ask. They said, "You have a great place," and I said, "Was everybody kind?"
Yeah. Always kind. Always kind. They remember my name. Hey, Rob, how you doing? And there's a lot of people. I don't remember half of them.
Well, you're not supposed to.
Huh?
Right? You're not supposed to. Well, how should you?
Nah, it's...
You're one. They're 80.
But they're really good at that. Hello, Rob. How you doing? I'm excited for this year. And they're talking about it, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how it's going to go. And I'm like, I should know who you are. You like have such an amazing vested interest in what we're trying to accomplish here. Amazing people. Anyway, love that place.
Stick out in a crowd, though, Rob. I mean, it's hard to miss you.
Yeah.
Well, you carry an aura.
With the red glasses and everything.
But the red glasses are the leader of his personality, right? You're like, this is exactly who Rob is.
Yeah.
If you had black glasses, I'm like, shit, that's not who Rob is.
Who is this guy?
Yeah. You are that colorful, jovial, full of love, positive guy, and even when you're eating a shit sandwich, you're a pretty positive guy, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
What a tremendous compliment. I love that. Thank you. Well, let me ask you, Bill, what are you reading?
I'm reading Let Me Take You Down.
Let Me Take You Down.
Yep.
What's that about?
It's the book about an author interviewed and stayed with Mark David Chapman. Do you know who he is? Do you guys know who Mark
David Chapman. I know that
He's
name.
the guy who killed John Lennon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And he, the preface of the book is, he said, I get nothing from this book, but I want people to learn why I killed John Lennon to prevent this from happening to anybody ever again. So the 100% of the money goes to charity. It doesn't go to him. And he's not trying to help people. What he's just trying to do is let people know what the process he went through. And so this is from his mouth through an author. So I just started that book.
Oh, wow.
Cool. Huh. If you could say that there was a book or 2 or 3 books that were influential in forming this business mentality, this culture? What would you say has been influential in your life?
Mad Magazine.
Mad Magazine.
You fold the cover together, and there's a whole other picture.
Spy versus Spy. I read when I can. I don't have a lot of time. When I go home, I focus on my family. I put life down. Literally, I rub my face in the garage, and I go, okay, now let's go in the house and be a husband, a father, a grandfather. And
That's your reset.
Switching hats.
yeah, and it's so great because I can just look in my family and love them and feel the love from them, and get right in it. In the morning, we wake up, and we're a machine. Make my daughter dinner. I make my girlfriend and I breakfast. I make my girlfriend and I breakfast. I set the things out. My girlfriend starts making my daughter's lunch, and boom, in the house. 30 minutes later, we're out the door. And when I come home, and I clean up everything, I make sure do all the dishes before I leave the house, so my girlfriend doesn't have to come back to a dirty house. And then when I come home, we do the same thing. If I don't work late, I make dinner. I'm the cook. I love cooking, so I cook every meal, and not every meal. She cooks sometimes, and then. But that's our thing. She's doing homework with my daughter. I come home. I know my role. I'm not a business owner. I'm not this guy who has been on TV. I'm not this guy who threw out a first pitch at the National League Championship Series game. I'm the guy who makes dinner for my family. And you get humbled really quickly, and you engage. So my girlfriend and I, we call it bathtub therapy. So we get in the bathtub, and we really let it hang out, meaning not naked-wise. I mean, like, we tell our truths, and it's part of our relationship building. So we do those types of things. Have you guys heard of 75 Hard?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So my company, we did 90 Hard. So we
I was going to ask you about that. We talked about it like in the recap. And
we
you
did
said,
it last year.
yeah.
And we did 90 Hard, and I had 25 employees do it, and you had a skin in the game, and everybody kicked ass. But my family got involved in it. My daughter did not eat one piece of candy for 90 days.
What?
Yeah, Addie did. My girlfriend and I got ripped. My girlfriend, she's beautiful and fit, and she got even more fit, and we focused on that, and we really focused on our health, and you guys know that. And so we did quality time with family, and that really helped us focus, and we did, you read or self-improvement, those types of things, but it was mostly, and going back to, sorry, I'm not answering your question, but so books reading is, as much as I want to and try to, it's not always. The book I read before that was David Grohl's biography, and so I try to read for more of the decompression than the. I have Peter Attia's book sitting on my desk, and I'm going to read that soon.
Yeah.
We're working on a project with a couple of people that are Dr. Neil Rousier, who's a foremost expert in hormone therapy, and so we're working with Huberman, some people close to getting on Joe Rogan. So those are things we're working on to get.
Wow.
No kidding.
How exciting.
So we have some really advanced science, going back to business and not trying to be in business, but we have really advanced science. We're proving that saliva is a better biosample in some cases. UCLA did a study using our device to detect non-small cell carcinoma early.
Wow.
And when our preservation solution amplified the sample, worked 10 to 14 times greater than blood.
Holy cow.
Detecting early cancer. So
Wow.
we're doing some great science. We're doing great hormone science using saliva, periodontal disease, STIs using saliva. And so we're working with some very, very influential people, not just here, but other countries, and so Honduras, Colombia, Costa Rica, where they're doing like wellness clinics for gene therapy. So we're doing stuff like that.
Wow.
Well, let's just jump ahead into the future now. Let's put on our what's it going to look like in 5 years? Where are you going to be? What are you going to be doing? Or is 5 years too long? 3 years maybe.
Yeah,
You've got a lot happening.
My one year, I'd like to ski 100 days and mountain bike 100 days in the same year.
Oh.
That's
Okay.
a great goal.
I don't know. We'll see. I would like to go to all 30 Major League Baseball parks.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I want to sell my business, grow it back. We struggled after COVID, developing new science. So we had a high burn rate, as you might imagine. When you're doing science, you're not selling product, and now we've commercialized that science. And so my goal is to rebound Spectrum to get it back to where we sold to a private equity in 2019, and I'd like to now sell it in whole in the next couple of years. So we're expanding our pharmacy, we're expanding science. We have a lab in Alabama, we're expanding that. So that's my focus, is to grow the business, grow it back to 300 million. I think the hardest ride is to 100 million. The easiest ride is go from 100 million to 200.
Oh,
They said it's twice as hard to go from 0 to 100 than it is to go from 100 to 200.
Wow.
And I want to know what it feels like to go to 200.
yeah.
So that's a goal.
Great goal. Great goal. Well, Bill, a lot of our listeners are younger. These guys that are just, hanging their shingle, getting started in the world. And I always like to ask this question to people who I admire their success. And success, of course, is measured in many different levels and different ways. But if you could go back and take that young guy that was just fired today by the box company, crying, the guy that rolled out of there like, what am I going to do with my life?
Driving in my company car back to the company.
Yeah.
And I had custom wheels on my company cars. I had to go get the wheels off and go take the car down. That was a bad day.
Let's say you go back in time, you can put your arm around that kid's shoulders and say, hey, buddy, what advice would you give him?
So you guys know this. People who say, I'm gonna go into business myself so I can have
Freedom. Yeah.
And you're like, you're wrong.
You have made a bad choice.
Go back and get a job so you get 2 weeks off every year.
Yeah,
Go back and get a job so you get paid vacation. Go back.
You get lunch.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. When you work at a business and you pay yourself last, and sometimes one time in 2010 I didn't pay myself for 8 months to make sure my employees got paid. Don't start a business because you want freedom.
Solid advice. That's the worst way to gain freedom.
Yeah. The second one I would say is, if you're going to do it, don't fake it. You have to be 100% all the time. Don't leave early to go skiing. Don't take this day off because of this. Don't go do that because you're faking it.
Yeah, you'll talk yourself out of success.
Yeah, you will.
Because if you don't really believe it, you got to play all out.
It.
That's good.
And talking yourself out of success, but drink your own Kool-Aid. Believe in yourself. If you really think you can do it, you better go do it.
Get to work.
Go do it. If I heard a saying the other day that I thought was very apropos that said something like, if you don't believe you deserve a seat at the table, you don't.
Right.
You're right. Yeah, that's a good one. Huh. Got some good stuff out of this one.
Amazing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Well,
I'm spewing a lot of bullshit as I'm doing.
I don't know about that.
no,
can tell.
the school of was it Pick and Spade?
Pick and shovel.
Pick and Shovel.
Pick and Shovel University.
Yeah, that school teaches truths at the very purest level, in my opinion, because it's undeniable. Like, I just burnt my hand. I'm not going to put it on that again. I've learned a lesson here.
Yeah, well said.
And that is really how this works. And fail forward, fail often, fail forward. All those cool mantras that people have. I see you failing at a tremendously amazing rate. Congratulations.
I have failed so many times. Yeah. This last year has been the hardest year of my business. We have struggled immensely trying to develop the science and get it launched. It took longer than expected. It was more expensive than expected. I got sued at doing Thanksgiving Heroes 2020 when nobody could go in the building. We were finishing up, and my chief financial officer calls me and said, you need to come to the building. I go back to the main building. Our attorney's on the phone, and we had just been served papers because we were having so much success that the other company that thought we were stealing intellectual property wanted our money, wanted our success. I got sued by 2 companies, a collection device company and a preservation solution company.
What?
I spent $19 million defending myself, and I won them both.
I
not only won them both, excuse me,
Go ahead.
but I invalidated their patents. So we attacked them. The one company on the preservation solution was lying. They hid science, and we
Uncovered that.
We did an IPR to the patent office, and they took away all 6 of their patents. So we not only won, but we destroyed their company.
Oh my God.
We got sued by another company for a device. We not only won, but we invalidated 3 of their biggest patents.
Wow.
We won on both of them. The judge ruled 1 day apart from each other 3 years later, and I spent $19 million defending both of those.
That's bananas. Wow. What an adventure, Bill.
A buffalo.
The buffalo. Head into the storm. Man, that is some strong advice, folks. Well, I've got to tell you, Bill, thank you for being on our podcast tonight. This
Sorry,
has been
long-winded.
Huh?
Sorry about being long-winded.
No, that was
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, that
That
was
was
really
awesome.
good. Good information, good lessons. I've written down things that I'm going to go do my research on and have questions for you afterwards. But listen, fans and friends, if you have any questions for Bill or questions for us here on the podcast, please leave comments. Share this with other people. This is a tremendous value that we're providing for you. And if you have other questions that you'd like us to dig into and learn more about, please let us know how we can better serve you as we provide this podcast. This is a tremendous value to us. I've learned a ton tonight. Thank you, Bill. And I'm grateful for your time.
I'm
Absolutely.
very honored to be asked to be here. This is my first time doing this. I've been interviewed a couple of times, but this is really cool. Thank
You did great.
You did awesome.
yeah, it
Like
was
you're
so
a
good.
natural.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Share it, like it. Love you.
Thank you very much. Good night. Good night. Good night.